This episode is brought to you by JList.com. JList.com still has this crazy t-shirt sale going on. Right now, everything is $4. They have hoodies and t-shirts that are themed after Studio Ghibli, Domo-kun, Super Mario Bros., Final Fantasy, Assassination Classroom, Ghost in the Shell, and so much more. It's hard to believe a hoodie for $4, but if you go to JList.com right now, there are such hoodies available on their t-shirt sale. So head over there right now and get yourself some cool apparel. And now it's time to start the podcast.
来てくれてありがとう You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at AAAPodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome to episode 468 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. I am your host, Mitsugi, and wherever you're listening from, I am very pleased to have you listening to us today. I am all amped up on green monster energy, and I'm loving it. And I am loving my friends who are joining me today, and we already heard him, so he has already made his presence known. Enzo.
Preemptive year.
Preemptive year from Enzo, hailing from Brooklyn.
Yeah, preemptive year, on time year, and what's up, guys? It's good to be here. I feel like I haven't done the podcast in a long time, but it's only been a week. Was I on last week? I was on last week.
Yes, you were.
Ooh, good to be here. What's up?
And how are things?
It's been a long week.
Yeah,
man.
How are things in Brooklyn?
But things in Brooklyn are pretty cool. I have a friend here from Albany visiting, so I've been seeing a lot of friends recently. Been eating a lot of ramen recently, which is good for the soul.
God, yes.
Been making music. Been writing a lot. Been hosting my anime meetup. It's been wild. It's been wild.
And of course, we have Mandy, not to be forgotten.
Hello.
She's here in the flesh. It's the manga mama. How are you, Mandy?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here
Good.
and talk about stuff. Talk about old animes.
And how is Cincinnati?
Cincinnati right now is... God, it's a lot hotter than I thought it was. It's 78.
Oh, dude, yeah, wild.
Yeah.
Please don't even talk about hot weather.
Yeah. For here though, I don't know. Yesterday was only like 50, so going from 50 to 78 in one day is pretty. I don't know. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Let's change the video overlay, you dummy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. It is 94 degrees outside where I am.
Damn.
And it's very difficult.
That's like all year, right?
Well, we don't really have we only have one season in Florida, and that's summer. We do have a couple weeks which you would call fall, but
sure.
That's about it. But today it is 94, so it's back to summertime.
Just full-time swamp ass season.
Yeah.
Swamp ass, just all
Swamp.
year round, 24/7 swamp ass.
Florida-
Moist ass cheeks at all times.
Let me tell you how Florida goes. If you plan on spending any time outside at all, you are relegated to flip-flops, like cargo shorts, or like beach shorts, or golf shorts, or like some kind of a t-shirt, because there is you can't. There's no sense of fashion in Florida, because it is so hot that if you were to wear anything like a coat or something that looks nice, like you're dying. So swamp ass is a great way to put it. If you want to join our website, we just talked for an hour about what our expectations are for the season 8 of Game of Thrones in our hobby addicts. You can go to www.AAAPodcast.com/join, where you can get that episode. You can hear all of our thoughts. We even went through some prop bets about like who we thought would kill which characters, who we thought would speak first in the season, who we thought would sit on the Iron Throne at the end of the season. So that's pretty fun. And of course, we also do our hentai episodes and our after parties. So it was just a tremendous amount of extra content for you over there at AAAPodcast.com/join. We have our Discord as well. So the Discord channel is up to like 1,100 people. It's pretty bumping over there. So that's
so wild.
That's where the bulk of the community is talking. So it's usually a pretty good place to hang out. You know, day or night, there's always something going on over there on the Discord channel. Today we're going to be doing a topic that I think has been requested numerous times through polls on Twitter and Facebook, through topic requests, and just through like general survey information. And that is more discussion about retro anime. I think that people from just about every single point of contact are asking for the same thing. So we're going to be talking about some retro anime today. I personally want to talk about like some of the differences between anime now as opposed to before. You know, what makes them different.
Wonderful to talk about, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice because it's surprising. Like anime today and anime from like 25 years ago, they're almost like not even the same genre. They're different.
Like conceptually different.
They're
almost.
They're like not even the same medium. They're so different.
Isekai has had a major twist. I don't know.
Yeah,
it'd be different.
So. Yeah. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some shows that you might want to watch from days past. And then there's been a lot of feedback given from social media. So we'll run through some of your favorites. And then, of course, we're going to do a review of Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Which was a listener choice anime from like 2 seasons ago. So that's going to be fun. I want to drop a quick note for Icy Rose that there is a form running for the list for next week's topic, which was listener recommendations episode. The people, you go on this forum, you can submit 5 of your favorite shows, and we will recommend another anime for you to watch based on your 5 favorites.
Ooh, I'm excited for that. It's gonna be fun.
Yep.
It's gonna be hard but fun.
So
it's gonna be really hard.
Icy Rose is gonna make another social media post for anyone that has last minute entries. So look out for that on Facebook and Twitter. I also want to drop another quick note that our friends over at Mastermind Comics, who we haven't talked about in a while. But Mastermind Comics is a comic book and media company. They have the second OST for their manga Afro Seeds coming out on April 16th. So if you're probably listening to this as of Wednesday, which is I believe the 17th. So as of the time you're listening to this, their second OST for Afro Seeds is already out. Afro Seeds is about a boy who's unaware of the world around him, who comes in contact with a man that will open his eyes to a world that he didn't think was possible. A man with a past that can leave anyone broken. The world is filled with lots of secrets, but the most prized possession is what is known as the Afro Seed. You can listen to the OST on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, or get more information at mastermindcomics.net.
Is it weird that I'm picturing a sunflower seed with an afro on it?
I was thinking of seeds that you plant on your head and it grows an afro.
Dude, I would so buy. What?
I think of Blue Seed, which is not like the old retro anime. Yeah. What?
Whoa!
Oh
tied
God.
In, baby, tied in. Professional podcast host skill.
All right.
Oh, I'm in a weird mood, baby. Let's go.
All right. All right. So why don't we get to the big news of the week then?
Let's go.
It's time for big news of the week.
Big news and a big anime title. Cowboy Bebop's Netflix castings have been announced.
The day we have all been waiting for. Parentheses, nope. Parentheses closed.
So yeah. That awkward silence.
I am so okay. No, listen. I'm just in general. I'm conflicted about a live action Bebop because, as I've said it before, I'm someone that preaches the fact that animation is a final medium. I don't think there's nowhere Bebop can be improved upon through a live action. So, like, to me, this could be cool, but it just, I'm already satisfied. So I'm not necessarily excited for it, you know. But we did get our cast. We got John Cho as Spike Spiegel, which is interesting. We got Jet Black, will be played by Mustafa Shakir. He was in The Pretenders recently. Faye Valentine will be played by Daniela Pineda, who was in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And Vicious will be played by Alex Hassel. And I think he was in Suburbicon. Yeah. And so yeah, we're approaching Bebop's 20th anniversary. It aired in 1998. in the animated movie was released in 2001, so I think they're going for this whole anniversary kick to push with marketing. But I guess, what do you guys think about the casting? I think Vicious is pretty cool. I think Alex Casella looks like a cool Vicious, but
not bad.
It's not bad. John Cho is the one I'm happy for him. Like it's really cool that he's put in a lot of work in the industry. So it's cool that he's getting a role this big. But like, I just never once in my head pictured him as Spike and ever. But,
I mean, he's fairly young still. I mean, he's 46. So he looks. I mean, he put him in a suit. Like if you go on IMDb and look up John Cho.
I'm trying to say if he has crazy enough hair to pull it off.
He looks like Spike.
I guess he could, yeah.
So the thing is, like, we're not gonna achieve Spike's hair, right?
No, I mean, nobody.
Like, it's not gonna happen.
It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like that'd be like the worst wig of all time. I fully see him getting his sides cut really short and having his top as a side part, and that being Spike's hair for the movie. Like I would be okay with that. I can picture him looking pretty dapper with the blue blazer, like in the loosely fitting like yellow shirt under, and him walking with some swag. Like I can see it, but like I don't see him being the drunken kung fu guy that we like. Like, will that be in the movie? Will that not be in the movie? Like, we'll have to see.
I mean, I think he looks enough like Spike that without even trying. Like here, I'm gonna throw this picture up for you on.
He has a good facial structure for it.
From IMDb. He has great hair.
That's a good picture.
He's got
That's
great.
a good picture.
He's got great hair. His hair is great. First of all.
No, this picture is doing it. This is doing it for me.
And I think that like it puts to bed any of the concerns about like whitewashing or whatever people might say. I mean, the cast is. I'm satisfied. I think the Jet's character looks good. I like him. I think that Faye's character looks. I think actually, you know what? I think I like all of them. I think it's about as good as they were gonna do as casting. People may never be satisfied potentially with the casting just because it's bebop and whatnot. But like, it's I don't know if you could come up with four people that fit the role better.
Yeah, and I haven't sat down to think about it either. That's why I'm not in a place to really like be negative towards the casting. I haven't done research to propose otherwise, and I also am like knowingly fully conscious of the fact that I am on the boat that no matter who they cast, I won't be satisfied. So like, but I'm not gonna channel that into negativity. I'd rather be like, okay, I know I'll never be satisfied. That doesn't mean this can't happen. So now that it's happening, I'll just have to wait and see if it's good or not. But like, yeah, I mean, am I excited at the potential of this being pretty cool? Sure, but I'm not really excited that it's happening at all because I'm very satisfied with the anime. So, but
what if Ayn was played by all of the Queen's corgis?
Will Ayn even be in it?
Will Ayn even be? I think there was confirmation
I hope so.
that Ayn will be in it, but
I mean, don't.
So far, major casting reveals. It does not feel like Ayn's in this movie.
I don't think you. I mean,
or series or whatever.
Super unpopular opinion. Shocker coming from me. Based on Bebop, I think you're gonna get a tighter, more concise, better edited story without Ayn or Ed in it.
When you think about it, who would play Ed?
Their stories are very separate from the rest of the group.
Yeah.
And I think that you're going to have a better story with it being primarily about Spike, Vicious. Although you can't really have their story without Julia. So I don't know who's playing Julia. Faye. Faye's story, I mean, I don't know. Who's going to play Julia? Well, where's her casting? She's so important.
My brain always pictures Scarlett Johansson as Julia for some reason.
I mean,
if she was in this, we would know. Now.
No, definitely know.
If Scarlett Johansson was in it, especially with Avengers Endgame coming out in like 2 weeks, she would be the fucking middle, like the main face of the movie, even though she's playing Julia.
I don't know if it's a big enough of a role for Scarlett Johansson. Julia is mostly in flashbacks, and she's not really. But she is a key component of the story. So
I just always picture Scarlett because of her ability to speak in like a raspy voice, and I feel like Scarlett Johansson can pull off a very melancholic tone when she speaks. So that's why I always picture her, and she's blonde, she can do it. But
when is this coming out?
2021.
Oh my God! Why are we even talking about it?
2020?
2021. I can't.
Well,
be
20.
Right.
I don't know. I isn't that? I know. I feel like I read that somewhere. I could have just made that up.
All right. Well, I'm happy with it. The only one of these 4 people I feel concerned about is Vicious. I feel like his character is a little more difficult to pull off because he's got white
And they
hair.
made the British guy the bad guy.
Vicious isn't. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's like the trench coat wearing, crow on his shoulder, blonde, white hair. Like, I don't even know what to call him. I don't emo sword toting badass. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's kind of how he comes off. So that I just feel like his character is tough to pull off because I don't know that particular like style of character really plays well with general audiences. But we'll see. They could tailor the character to be however they want, but hopefully not too much.
I can't picture this guy with white hair, so I'm going to assume they're not going to give him white hair.
Do we have a director for this already?
Oh, well, I'm sure we do. It has to have a director.
I would think so if we were casting already, right?
Yeah. I'll look it up while you're doing Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner. How about that?
All right, let's do it. It sounds like a plan.
皆さんおめでとうございます Join us in Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner.
Yep, it's time for my, I guess, Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner, where you guys can write in and let us know about anything you've accomplished in recent history or in the past, or anything you're working on and what steps you're taking to go towards that goal, because we want to celebrate you. We care about you guys.
We love you.
We love you so much. It's ridiculous. This one comes in from Gelded Milksop. Gelded Milksop? Gelded Milksop. Gelded Milksop. They say, yo, AAA. Yo, AAA. Recently, I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease called Addison's disease. Long story short, I felt horribly for months, and my doctors all thought I was depressed. I was about 3 days away from dying. I not had a gut feeling that I needed to go to the doctor again and insist on more blood testing. Now I'm on new medicine and I feel great. I no longer have crippling fatigue and have now gotten my first job out of college. I also just passed an exam to get an IT certification. Then right after that, I celebrated my first ever bowl of ramen. Needless to say, I have any favorite food. So yeah, I'm kicking ass. I need you to notice me. Enzo Senpai. P.S. Mitz, you're sexy as fuck. Kazo, you're funny as fuck. Enzo, you're cool as fuck. Mandy, you're sweet as fuck. Please don't stop laughing. B.S.S. Steins Gate is in no way overrated and deserves its place as one of the top anime ever. Mitz and Kazuo, I will refute all of your false claims live on air and enforce capital punishment onto the Pope. Oh shit, love y'all.
Capital punishment.
Damn, Mitz, you better watch yourself around Gilded Moxop. Fine, fam. Like
he calls me sexy and then he wants me killed. What?
Yeah, that's kind of hot though.
That's kind of. I mean, I'm confused. Like I'm getting mixed signals.
Mixed signals here. But hey, listen, I am overjoyed that you're feeling way better, man. Being on that kind of edge is a tough, dark place to be, but it seems you're doing okay. Let me know if you have pics of the bowl of ramen you had. Send them my way, man. I'll send you pics of my favorite bowl. We can exchange ramen nudes. Get it.
I'm told
ramen noodles.
Jesus.
Oh God. Oh my God. It was a good joke. Okay.
I'm told that ramen is popping up like crazy in Denver as well. So
yeah, fucking about time. They're like 50 years behind.
Well, it hasn't popped up in Tampa yet. We don't have shit for ramen in Tampa.
Yeah, but do old people like ramen?
Tampa's not full of old people.
Florida's all old, man.
The I-4 corridor, Tampa, Orlando to Daytona is yuppie as hell. What the hell, man? You don't know what you're talking about. If you go south of Tampa, it's old people. If you go north of Tampa, it's like old people. But right through Tampa and Orlando, it's young people.
Yeah, sure.
You never even been here before. Talking some trash.
You don't even know.
You don't even know shit.
Howdy, partner. I seen you riding in on that dusty trail. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the moe.
All right, a big thank you to Mandy for digging these up. For the good, the Ni no
problem.
Kuni film streams its first teaser with animation and character voices. So it looks like the official website for Level 5's Ni no Kuni anime film has that teaser on it. So if you want to go check that out, you can watch it. The film is going to debut this summer. It's going to star Kento Yamazaki, who played L in the Japanese live-action Death Note. It looks like some of the film's other cast members include Mamoru Miyano, of course. Who else?
As Yoki. This is the Prime Minister who has the absolute trust of the king.
Excellent.
Magic Prime Minister. He's going to be
excellent.
Magical.
He's the hand of the king. Fuck yeah, dude.
Have you seen him too? It's a perfect character.
Kenjiro Suda as Gabarus. Maya Sakamoto as both Saki and Velsa. And Maya Sakamoto, that's a true songstress. I hope they have her singing. Yuki Kaji as Danpol, a fairy. He's playing the fairy Danpol. That's awesome. What the hell? They have a great cast for this. It's crazy.
And Miyano and Kaji at the same time, Mandy. Are you able to sleep? Are you able to sleep right now, or look at this? Damn, dude.
I put up a picture of his character. Does that not look like a Momoto character?
Oh, it's just he's gonna be buck wild as this wizard dude.
and Maya Sakamoto. This is crazy.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. That means I'm looking forward to that quite a lot.
It also released some information on the story too, as well. Apparently, it's supposed to be like, it sounds almost to me like Steins Gate in a way, where these three friends are able to travel back and forth between reality and another world, Ni no Kuni. Yeah. And when the life of their friend Kotana in both worlds is simultaneously put in danger, the three friends must make the ultimate choice.
Ooh, my nips are hard. It doesn't sound like the same story as the game, so if you're a fan of the game, it looks like it'll be different. A little bit different, at least. For the bad, Madhouse Studios, who almost won our Anime Studio Survivor.
Almost.
A production assistant was hospitalized for overwork and demands compensation for unpaid overtime. It looks like Shohei Sakakura, who acts as a representative for both youth labor advocacy groups, reported this news on Twitter. Reported that Madhouse production assistant had joined the, quote, Black Company Union. By the way, Black Company is a term used for Japanese corporations that tend to abuse their employees. A trade union formed, it has nothing to do with race, a trade union formed in 2017 that offers consultation and support for workers in various industries. So they're called Black Kigyos, is how they refer to them. During crunch time, the assistant will work up to 200 hours overtime per month. It's crazy.
Yeah, this is crazy.
And will be made to work all day and night, even on weekends and holidays. Eventually, Kat collapsed due to overtime and had to be hospitalized. And Sakakura says that this is just how the anime industry works, and commented that they've had some pretty substantial improvements in other industries, but I guess not anime quite yet. Quote, we managed to improve the long hours and unpaid overtime in those industries. It takes courage, but when workers speak up, they have strong power. So, just, one of our favorite anime studios, but, it's a brutal industry. For the Moe, Beastar's creator becomes a zookeeper. The mangaka Paru...
For a day, just for a day.
Oh, for a day. The Beastar's mangaka Paru Itagaki spent a Sunday being a zookeeper wearing a giant chicken head mask. Went around and spent the day feeding animals, and which includes their iconic white tiger, and had a lot of fun. I guess Beastars takes place in a world of carnivores and herbivores where there's a very dramatic story unfolding. So since there's a lot of animals involved in the Beastars story, I guess it's kind of fun to have the Beastars manga artists, doing this. During the collaboration, life-size illustrations of the manga's characters were displayed throughout the zoo. A total of 10 panels, each with a different animal's character, were drawn by Itagaki. So it sounds like a fun little educational experience for the people that visit the zoo. So, and kind of just a fun little thing.
Yeah, there's also a lot of pictures online of her with her chicken mask, going through the park and feeding all these different animals.
Yeah, there's a picture.
Because Beastars is all about anthropomorphic animals, and they have this. There's a lot of drama in it, and it follows this character who's like a wolf.
There's a picture of her wearing the chicken mask, holding a huge boa constrictor. Absolutely giant. I mean, this thing is like 20 feet long and probably weighs like well over 100 pounds. So
I just like that in the article she talks about the white tiger, and it's like, and apparently the experience startled her. She was really scared of that tiger.
The Beastars manga artist creator can't be startled by a tiger. You should be immune. Okay. Getting to the trivia real quick. We're still doing our really bad anime trivia, and we're on the last week now. This week was Pupa, so only a few people got this right, and it was because I threw up a pretty difficult picture. So I guess only a few of our most disturbed listeners knew Pupa well enough to get this right. And the winner for the week was...
They've all been to the abyss.
Yeah, that anime is... Oh, my God. It's really rough. Schrodinger's Answer is the winner for the week. So you're the sickest of them all, I guess. Because, yeah, what else can I say? But if you go to our website, AAAPodcast.com, trivia is towards the bottom, and you can weigh in on what is the last week for this round of trivia. And then we'll be giving out like a Mustang convertible or a new Tesla or something like that. So something fancy. It'll be worth it to you to play the trivia, I'm sure. Who wants to read the in-show trivia?
I could do it. So, as always, before we go on news break, we're going to ask you a question for you to ponder and wonder about while we come back from getting water and stuff. The question is, name that anime, right? So this anime was made after a PS1 JRPG published by Working Designs, in which you play a bounty hunter named Elk. Yep. Name it. We'll be right back. See you soon.
Anime Addicts, Mitsuki's back, bringing you more anime news breaks. So, here we go with more news. It looks like Universal Studios Japan is adding even more cool features surrounding their Cool Japan attractions in their Universal Studios Japan's theme parks, including those dedicated to Lupin the Third, Detective Conan, Godzilla, Attack on Titan, and Evangelion. They're having an Attack on Titan The Real, which will depict a battle with original animation as you battle alongside of the heroes of Attack on Titan to help reclaim Wall Maria amid a Titan onslaught. Definitely a pretty cool little promotional image as well to go with this. There's also some pretty highly anticipated Evangelion Unit 1 facing off against Godzilla, which was finalized in an attraction called Godzilla vs. Evangelion The Real 4D, which you can sort of watch this battle take place between Godzilla and the Evangelion Unit 1, which I have to admit is definitely pretty enticing. So if you're a fan of any of this stuff, Universal Studios Cool Japan is heating up, and if you're in Japan, you might want to head over to the park to get yourself a taste of some of that action. Next up, it looks like there was a poll online, as Japan often does, asking anime fans to pick the most, quote, heart-pounding Yuri anime. So there was a vote that went down between February 26th and March 13th to find out which Yuri series people loved the most. The top 5 were Pola Magi Madoka Magica, Kase-san and Morning Glories, Yudu Yuri, Bloom Into You, and number 1 to the collective groan of, well, many people that I know at least, Citrus, coming in at number 1, the most heart-pounding and favorite Yuri property amongst Yuri fans. Next up on the list here, well, Sanrio has a lot of characters that in their sort of mascot catalog, and they're doing their 2019 Grand Prix once again, which is going to have people voting for their favorite mascots in a sort of like big tournament battle thing, in which people will vote from 80 different Sanrio characters. Of course, Hello Kitty is in the fray, and some of the very popular sort of runner-ups include Cinnamon, which is an adorable dog that survived online bullying to take the lead, and Pom Pom Pudding, who is a dog that might also be pudding. Some of these are pretty amongst the favorites, including others like My Melody, otherwise known as My Mellow, and some other fun stuff. So if you want to vote in the Sanrio 80-character Grand Prix for 2019, I'd poke around online. Last year's winner was Cinnamon, and So it's which was the second time that dog won the top spot from the Grand Prix. And last up, it looks like there was a pretty interesting appraisal done of a man's Pokemon card collection recently. A man's card collection appraised for almost 8 million yen, which is roughly $70,000, which included one of the most rare cards from the collection was a Genghis Khan parent and child tournament entry card, which was worth 1.2 million yen by itself, and apparently there were 4 of these inside the collection. The card itself was only ever distributed to entries at a, quote, Genghis Khan parent and child tournament, which was held in Japan in May 1998, and only 34 of these cards were ever given out, and he possessed 4 of them, as I said, in his collection. So it's a pretty crazy thing. The collection itself had 31 Pokemon cards in it that totaled $70,000. So if you want to get details on what exactly these cards were, I'm sure you can find more details online. But don't throw those Pokemon cards out, people, because they are pretty valuable. This is Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break. And of course, as always, time to get back to the podcast.
What is Mastermind Comics? Mastermind Comics is a media company that makes manga, anime, and we also publish them as well. Now we have different shows like Artist Motivation, Manga Money Review, and Anime Learn Moments to provide value to the community. Now if you like what we do and you want to find out more, go to our website, www.mastermindcomics.net, and we'll see you on the other side. Mastermind family in the building.
Are you looking to expand your anime collection?
Are you looking for a place where you can purchase all of your anime desires?
Ooh, then check out jlist.com.
At jlist.com, you can stock up on amazing merchandise. Want more cute moe figures, nendoroids, apparel, or even cute anime-related mugs? You can find all of them there.
That's right. They even have a snack box. Every month, JList will select the newest and best Japanese snacks and send them right to your doorstep. No subscription or long-term commitment is required. Just purchase whatever box you think looks appealing, and that's all there is to it.
JList.com even has items for those naughty anime addicts. Hentai, doujins, erotic visual novels, and even anime-related toys are available for you to use on your very own, or with a very special anime-addicted loved one.
JList.com has everything an anime fan could possibly want. Just head over to their website and check it out.
JList.com, your friend in Japan since 1996.
And we're back with the 468th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous.
Yo, hit the Millie Rock, man. Hit the Millie Rock.
Oh, what's that?
Hit the Millie Rock, my guy. Come on. Hit it. Hit it. Hit it. Hit it.
All right. Intro trivia. This anime was made after a PS1 JRPG published by Working Designs, in which you play a bounty hunter named Elk. The anime is Ark the Lad.
Ark the Lad. I feel like I might have watched some of that, but I don't remember.
It's a really good RPG, but a very mediocre anime series.
As per usual, eh?
Yeah, it's a 3-part JRPG where you play as Ark for the first episode of the first game, who's kind of like a like a hero that lives on like the edge of the law, and then you play as a bounty hunter hunting your old character in the second part of the game. So it's kind of cool.
Gotcha.
All right, and but now, as we always do, we are going to jump right into Mandy's manga minute. So Mandy has,
wish me luck.
Mandy is queued
My mouth is so dry from pretzels right now.
Oof.
Oh
dude.
man, well,
it's a good pain.
I had to binge. I was so hungry. Sorry, guys.
Well, wish her luck. Here she goes.
Don't fuck this up.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandy.
Alrighty, this is Mandy's Manga Minute, where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new to read. And this week I am doing again, and good luck trying to find that with the search engine. Super
Again,
original
manga.
title. Yeah, there are 2 exclamation points after it, so maybe that'll help. But Imamura Kenichiro reluctantly wakes up one day to attend his high school graduation. He's made no friends in high school and joined no clubs. Everyone was afraid of him due to his long blonde hair and surly attitude. Reflecting on his awful high school years, he remembers a girl from the Japanese cheering squad that he saw in the welcome ceremony 3 years ago. Searching for the old cheering squad's clubroom, he accidentally startles a classmate, causing them to both fall down a flight of stairs. When he wakes up, it's the morning of his first day of high school, 3 years ago, as he confusedly goes through his day. He's able to correct a lot of mistakes he made the first time around, such as actually interacting with the cheering squad girl Usami Yoshiko. But did he really travel back in time, or is this all just a dream that he's having while his body is lying unconscious somewhere? Could he really be having the chance to go through his high school year again? So again, it's a supernatural school comedy manga with just a little romance sprinkled in. It was written and illustrated by Mitsuro Kubo in 2011 and has been completed since 2014. There are 12 volumes in Japanese, but it was condensed into 6 volumes in English. You can find them both digitally and in print. Again, it has a similar feel to kind of like a real life, although the time's like unintentional in this manga. What would you do like if you suddenly went back in time a few years? Would you change things? Would you accidentally make things worse? Are some of the questions that this book asks. And in the first book, we get to see the drastic changes in the main character's appearance before and after the time skip. He also doesn't end up like in the past by himself. The girl he collides with actually also ends up in the past. So it's interesting to see how their experiences are different. Kenichiro is like very excited to change things, and Aki has like the knowledge of her past actually ends up making her have a lot of mistakes and screw things up. But Usami, the cheering squad's only member, is probably my favorite character in this series. She's like extremely passionate about the club and very strong, but also possesses a lot of pride. And through her interactions with Kenichiro, she starts to realize her own personality flaws and begin to change them. The manga's art's a little bit rough, but not too difficult to follow. I do really like Usami's character as well, her character design. So if you're a fan of like those second chance stories, I think this is very interesting and a short read too. So yeah, it's a little bit simple, but it leaves you with a lot of what-if questions.
Mandy?
Yes.
Does anybody know more about manga than you do?
Probably a lot of people.
Really?
Well, I don't fucking know him, so.
I don't know him either. I'd like to see him. I don't believe it.
I like to see him too.
I don't know. There are manga podcasts out there. I'm sure somebody does know a lot more than I do.
Well, thank you yet again for doing that manga minute on again.
No problem.
Right.
Again, we're doing manga minute again.
Insert pun.
We'll do it again next week too.
You're gonna do again.
Stop it. Stop.
All right, insert many puns. All right, so there's been a lot of interest. You know, Icy Rose has been doing a great job with our social media for the last few months, and
Icy Rose a 10-cent raise, huh? 10 cents up in your salary, Icy Rose.
Someone needs to get a raise. It's definitely not me. I haven't
Definitely
got
not me.
No one's showing me any love.
Damn.
So there are people on social media weighed in a few weeks ago, and hearing more about retro anime was by far the most requested sort of topic that people wanted to hear more about. And you know, and I get it. You know, I think it's mostly because we pretty much cover new stuff. You know, so that's a pretty reasonable ask of people. But also on Discord, like if you go through the topic suggestion portion of our Discord channel, there's a ton of people that have suggested wanting to hear more about retro anime, and I think that the social media response to Icy Rose's question about what some of their favorite retro shows were is pretty. I don't think he worked very hard, and there's like 30 people had just weighed in and just started throwing out lots of shows. So it's a good topic, and I think that in the future we can bring back. We already have a drop even for our retro dive segment that was originally intended for high dive, but high dive hasn't been super present, I would say. So we can repurpose that segment to talk about some retro anime here and there to sort of satisfy people a little bit that want to hear us talk about older shows. So allow this to be the reintroduction to that.
Yeah, I need you guys to educate me here because as the hair flip young person of the group.
Oh, you're not that young.
I have watched a lot of old anime, but I'm sure Mitz, like you especially, and Mandy also, like you guys have probably seen a lot of shit that I.
That's right. I'm old as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, me too then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, but you know, when you hear someone say retro anime, the first question you kind of think is, you know, well, when does that sort of title?
That was my question. When I saw this topic, I was like, what is retro actually?
And I don't have the answer to that. You know, I think that I'm honestly, to a lot of anime fans, I think even 5 years old is old stuff. But like, to me, retro is like 90s. But I think so. I just wrote 2005 and before because I don't know. I just arbitrarily picked that date. So
I think for me, I was doing at least 10 years.
So that's like, I mean, so yeah, that's roughly 2005.
Yeah.
But so there are some pretty dramatic differences between anime of like, you know, the 90s compared to anime today. And so I just made some notes here. I wrote some down, just trying to sort of flesh those out. Starting with the statistic about the number of animes that were made, TV series that were made just, you know, a few decades ago compared to today is pretty shocking. In 2018, there were 227 TV series made. 227.
That's a lot.
That is nuts. Like, to put it into perspective, that's like you would have to watch over 4 anime a week to make that happen for you for the whole year. So that's insane.
It's also a double-edged sword because my first like reaction was, "Oh man, but people have so much to watch now; they have so many choices." But also like lower quality.
Yeah. In 2008, 10 years before that, 116 shows were made. So the number of show series increased by 100 throughout just the last 10 years. If you go back 10 more years, 45 TV series were made in 1998. And in 1988, only 19 TV series were made. So between 19 total. So in 1998 between 1988 and 2018, over 1,000 something like a 1,200% increase in the number of anime created TV series.
1,200% is such a wild percentage.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And of course, this doesn't include movies, OVAs, TV specials. This is just television shows. So that's crazy. So just to give you an idea. So like, no wonder.
Could you imagine trying to do this podcast in the 80s? It's like, well, we're all gonna watch this one, or like we all have one show. We're just gonna review everything.
We just review everything. Yeah, at that point.
Pretty much would. But like, it's no wonder the Madhouse Studios assistants are dropping dead. Like 227 series a year. That's crazy. Oh my god, that's so nuts. So, yeah. So appreciate anime today because you have so much to choose from compared to before. So, but I don't know that it's necessarily a good thing. You know, I think there's a such thing as like overextending. But you know, that's another conversation entirely. How do you guys feel about like the art, and do you guys prefer the style of older anime, or do you prefer anime the way it is?
That's tricky, man, because I think a lot of it's tricky for me because I can't help but feel a different type of emotion when I watch older anime because there's a lens there for me, you know? Objectively, newer anime is just animated better. You know, it's smoother, it's less rigid models, it's more sharp, it's crispy, it's shiny, you know, it's nice. But I do always say that there is a certain charm with the older animation, just in the way that characters don't look so beautified. Like they're not all beautiful. Like they look more like like I don't know, like a human's a weird thing to say, but they look more like human, I guess, or organic. And also, but what really brings my eye to older animation is just the color palettes that were used. And I'm not sure there's a reason why the older anime all had that similar palette of color. Maybe like we didn't have the technology to use a full range of
Because
color
they had to paint
spectrum.
them.
Yeah. So I figured it was definitely a reason why like all the older animation has to have this certain amount of like this certain paint coloring. It's probably because those were the cheaper color palettes too. I don't know, but I like those color palettes. I think it sets a really grounding tone for certain stories. That being said, we have shit like the Fate series, you have shit like the Monogatari series, which really and all of like Yuasa stuff, like Ping Pong, that push the boundaries of what a standard animation could be. So yeah, there's I think now we can push the medium more to really reflect what people have in their heads. But I think the old anime really instill a sense of classic, of a classic look, and they set that standard.
So you feel like the techniques that are used today to create anime have sort of empowered the creators to bring their visions to life?
Totally, 100%. I don't think when you watch a movie like Mind Game by Yuasa, I don't even it like or because you either make Akira, right, and you pour so much man labor to get that movie done, but that's what it would take. You know, it would take Akira's force to make something like Akira, where like nowadays you can make a movie like Yuasa's Mind Game without that amount, without as much as like pen to paper effort. You know what I'm saying?
But Utena also came out in the 90s. That was
That's a trip.
Yuasa is
That a trip. That's a trip.
I don't know. I feel like there were a lot of also very interesting directorial choices back in the 90s as well. I think like what you were saying about character art is women are getting curvier in anime.
Oh,
when you look back at old shoujo, they're like stick figures.
Yeah.
And also guys are becoming more feminine.
Yeah, skinnier.
Back
like
in old shoujo,
they had shoulders, bro. Like they were broader,
super broad shoulders and pointy chins.
Yeah, I also miss the I like the swag of characters back in the day. Like Yusuke, like for Yu Hakusho to me has like the most like Yusuke with his white shirt tucked in with his pants and like the fucking kicks, my guy. The dude was fly as hell. Holy shit.
He's got his jeans on, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He got denim on, shirt tucked. I have my shirt tucked in my denim jeans right now. Like, damn, my boy was fly as hell.
Yeah.
I feel like the guys these days, like, and I also dress a little feminine too, like whatever that means to people. But people tell me I dress a little feminine also. But like, yeah, boys in recent anime.
I just mean curves and everything.
Yeah. Just like body structure. I think I was kind of trying to say what you're saying, Mandy. Like where like it's like beauty is a thing, like a thing that's really like reached for in like animation now. But whatevs.
Yeah, I think that's like when I look at old. I'm trying to make more of an effort to go back and watch old stuff nowadays. I mean, I've been watching Slam Dunk. I'm like on episode 70 now.
Yeah, I like the way Slam Dunk looks though.
Yeah, it's very it evokes a certain emotion in me, I would say, that just reminds me of like it gives me almost like a warm sort of cozy feeling when I'm watching it, and I feel like it's because it just brings me back to
a simpler time.
Yeah, where where I watched anime and had a lot more time and a lot less to worry about, and back then, it was Rurouni Kenshin and stuff like that, and those shows, they were a part of that time, and they look a certain way. And so when I'm watching older shows, I feel a certain sort of, I don't know, a certain warmness to them. And I don't know, I guess anime comes out in such an abundance now, and a lot of it looks very similar to me that I kind of feel like in some ways it feels a little manufactured to me.
Sure.
But it is undeniably beautiful for sure. And you're right. The way characters look now are so completely different than the way they used to look. It's not even, and it's not for better or for worse.
No, it just is.
It's just how things are. How things sort of change and evolve. But it's like if you watch a basket of shows from like 1995, and then go watch a basket of shows from like last year. Boy, it's really different. Like anime has changed so much. Yeah. It has changed a lot. You can pretty much tell what era a show came from just based off of how it looks. You can identify it immediately. So it's definitely interesting. Also, like older anime were like grittier. Like they were like like in
you go back and watch old anime, there are a lot of errors in them as well.
Like in Slam Dunk, the characters look rougher. And when they get into fights, they're not worried about just like messing up their faces, and there's just blood everywhere. And the character designs are rougher, and the content is more violent. I feel like anime used to be a lot more violent than it is now.
I would agree with you for sure. Because even if you look at an anime like Hajime no Ippo, right? Like that's inherently violent because you are watching people fight as a sport, but the directorial choice to fuck those dudes' faces up the way they do in that show is clearly made. Like they don't care about how like cool or handsome they look. Like they just mess those faces up. Like they like that head model just becomes curvy and bumpy with all the bumps that they get from fighting and stuff. And I feel like in modern anime, I notice this a lot too, where characters don't really become caricatures of themselves anymore too often. Ippo's a good example of this too, where when they make fun of him, when they tease him, like his face goes all like long and his nose gets big and he's like drools a little bit, or like where he's fawning over that girl, he like his face goes like super red and his face also elongates and everything. Or when like what's his aniki, the guy that's really famous,
Takamura,
yeah. Takamura, like his facial expressions when he's going off on some tangent like are ridiculous, right? Like his mouth opens up like 3 feet tall. And I feel like it doesn't happen too much often anymore. I feel like a lot of anime, when they do that, it's rare and it's not as exaggerated anymore. And I don't really know why it kind of shifted that way. But yeah, like I feel like the liberty to stretch out those models is not happening as much anymore. Or
I feel like right now a lot of people want anime to become more realistic.
Interesting, man. And yet they draw bodies so not reflective of their
I don't know. I think anime characters nowadays, a lot of them I feel look more realistic than like the old shoujo that were like super like just straight thins, just like an upside down triangle.
And also the eyes are like 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
On their fucking heads.
Do you think it's I know I wonder like what the driving force is in the changes of the animation styles. And
so many things, dude.
Do you think it's the technology is driving the way anime looks, or do you think that the technology is evolving to fit the aesthetic desires of the audience? You know what I mean?
I think what happens is that, and I don't know what anime would have done this, right? But I think what happens is a director puts out an anime that is the first one to do a thing, and then other studios are just like, holy shit, that thing was really cool. And now and then they get inspired and they don't straight out copy, but they take that inspo and then put it in, and then slowly you form a new standard, right? So that new standard is what we got in like the early 2000s, let's say. And then another anime and director were like, here's my new thing, and other people were like, oh shit, like that's a cool new thing, and then they adapt it also, and then you get a new standard. And I think in modern day, I feel like the Unlimited Blade Works to me is what like UFO Teo put that out, and then other studios are like, holy fuck, do you see those particles, bro? Like holy shit, you see all that like lighting animation they got? Holy fuck. And then I think a lot of studios are now like focusing on like making shit look pretty and shiny and stuff, as a new standard. which is a crazy standard. But to me, that's how it happens. And I think technology will. I mean, that's a whole philosophical thing. Does art imitate life, or does life imitate art? Who fucking knows? But I think technology will evolve, and that opens up doors. And then there will be people that are visionary and demand technology to meet their vision too. So I don't know. Basically, I don't know.
It's very like deep of you. I like that. Do you guys want to
today, boys?
I also feel like anime had a lot. Now this could just be my perception. So I really want you guys to jump in and be like, oh no, that doesn't seem like the case to me at all. If you feel like if you don't feel the same way, but I feel like anime today. I feel like back in the day, back in well, I'll just stick with 1995. I feel like there was a lot more diversity in the types of genres that were covered.
Okay.
When I look back, I seem to recall that there were just like a very wide variety of like shoujo shows, sci-fi shows in outer space, mecha shows, horror shows. Like I look back and I think about like all the different types of shows that existed back then, and then I look at it today and I wonder if we like if anime is a little more like tucked into its little buckets today compared to how it was before. Now maybe that's just my perception. There's 227 shows versus like 50, from back then. So it could be that we just have the same number of different types of genres and then like 7 shows for each of them. But I'm not really sure. Like that's just how I kind of like that's how my thought process has developed. And maybe it's just because we get like 5 isekai shows every season. But I'm not really sure exactly.
What do you think, Mandy? Because I have a business perspective on this, but I don't know. What do you think, dude?
Oh, to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said, "What do you think, dude?" I thought you were talking to Miss. I'm so sorry.
Nope. This is the New York in me, friend.
Oh. I don't know. I feel like there's just such we have so many anime nowadays that I think they're just all trying to copycat each other. I feel like maybe because there were less anime back in the 80s or 90s that we had a wider variety of shows, but now it feels like we have less because more studios. We have so many more studios opening up and going, okay, isekai is the big thing right now. Let's copy isekai.
Yeah. No, that's where I'm at too. I feel like I have like 2 thoughts on this. I feel like back then there wasn't a. I feel like back then the stories that are easy to tell, like easy stories that are good formulaically to tell, were not done yet. So people had the opportunity to be like, "Yo, there's no horror anime out yet. Let's make a horror."
It could be. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be.
So then like. You know what I mean? Like, so like, yo, let's like, there's not that much sci-fi. Let's make a sci-fi one. Like, there's like, we'll make the first one, we'll make the second one, or even the third or fourth one. Like, that's still a little amount of a genre. And then as anime started getting more and more and more money, studios had to get more and more, business oriented in this medium. And I think what Mandy said now rings true, where like, if you're a studio and you see Sword Art Online popping the fuck off, you're like, well, we could do this indie suspense horror movie, or we could shit money by making Konosuba or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes a business game too. That's the unfortunate side to art, right? Art on its own would be a fantastic, wonderful thing, but people got to eat and make money.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's give and take. But I do agree though. I feel like if maybe it's not that we don't have a lot of variety now, but back then I think each genre could shine more because there was less volume.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And by the way, anime is not different than any other industry. It's like somebody will make a GoPro, and then there's like 17 spin-off companies of GoPros that are all made with similar technology, but they kind of sidestep the patents and whatnot. And so everybody's trying
zombie shit everywhere.
Everybody's always trying to carve out their little piece of the market share of the new market that's popped up.
Yeah.
Right,
so,
for sure. Oh, dude, look at sorry, Penny, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, Walking Dead, zombie shit everywhere, and then there were, like,
exactly,
even in video games,
the Battle Royale,
like,
baby.
survival genre, and then all of a sudden there's survival games everywhere.
Yeah, and then, DayZ came out, right? Like, the Battle Royale thing, and then Now we have like Fortnite and Apex Legends and Call of Duty's bringing out a battle arena game and all that shit. It's just like, yeah, like people are just like, yeah, that's what I said before, right? Like a thing comes out, people are like, oh shit, that thing was really good. Like can we make the thing? Yeah, let's make the thing. And then make the thing. And then now the thing is new standards. And then I'm waiting for what's next. Like what comes after battle arena, right? For video games, for example, so it's a cycle that, art will always go into. It's the same shit with fashion too. Like it's all cycles.
All right. Well, why don't we talk about some of our like shows that we thought about mentioning from like days past, and then we have like a lot of comments to go through from people.
Hi.
A lot of comments. So, the first one I'm going to start off with is I'm going to throw an anime out there that used to be super popular, that came out in 1998. So it's, believe it or not, 20 years old, which is like frightening, by the way, because I still remember sitting on the carpet in my parents' house watching this.
What color was the carpet?
They had like it was very floral looking.
Nice.
It wasn't like just a red carpet or whatever, but it was a very like old fashioned like floral design. Nice. This anime it used to be extremely popular, like rivaling Bebop popular, but you never hear of it anymore. I haven't heard of it in ages, and that's Trigun. That's Trigun. I don't hear about Trigun anymore.
I feel like people talk about Trigun. I don't know.
I haven't heard anybody mention Trigun.
I haven't really heard. Well, the thing is, I haven't heard I haven't seen threads on Trigun or anything. But when people like at the anime meetup I host here in Brooklyn, like when we get into the conversations about like older stuff that got us into anime, Trigun does come up.
People still cosplay Vash too.
Yeah, because his shit is iconic as hell. His look is his silhouette is iconic as fuck. But I would give that I don't see Trigun being spoken. It doesn't get pointed to as a major thingy majig unless the conversation about old anime comes up. You know what I mean?
I think that Trigun is a show that I think a lot of people today haven't seen it. It's old enough now that new anime. It's old enough now that many of today's anime fans weren't born when Trigun came out. And they certainly weren't old enough to have been watching anime by the time Trigun came out. So like Trigun came out in 1988, so we'll say like anime fan probably is not going to be watching anime until they're like 10 years old. So unless you were born like 1988, like you probably aren't that exposed to Trigun unless you went back and watched it after, which I don't know how often that happens, but I really want to recommend Trigun to people because it is sort of
great.
At least in the American anime sphere, and by that I mean shows that influence like anime in America. Trigun's like way up there. It was very influential. I don't know how influential it was in Japan, but as far as making its mark in the West, Trigun was really popular. And when you hear Vash the Stampede, you can just stop right there. Everyone from my era knows that it's Trigun. And then when you say is a man with a $60 billion double dollar bounty on his head, like that phrase right there by itself is iconic as anime to an entire generation. And the anime itself is really good, by the way. It's animated well. It's really fun to watch. It has sort of a Western flair to it. A lot of really great action and some comedy with a pretty solid story. And Trigun is just a show that I think that if people haven't watched it, you should go back and check it out. And I know a lot of you that are listening that haven't seen Trigun have heard of it, and then but you haven't gone back and given it a shot because everybody's busy. And I get that, but you should go back and try Trigun when you have a little bit of downtime. So that would be a good show for you to like kind of stick into a season when there's just not a whole lot that's catching your interest. So,
Icy says in the chat, fun fact about Trigun, it was never really popular in Japan, but it was a huge inspiration to lots of directors in the industry. A lot of directors have cited it as the reason they got into anime.
I've never seen any Trigun anything in Japan ever.
Yeah.
So. That's
the same way with Cowboy Bebop, too. That one never took off in Japan, right?
I've never seen anything for Bebop in Japan either. I think I saw it's like a crappy plastic figure of like Spike once, and that was about it. But it was like really like a low quality figure that looked like it probably was pretty cheap. So, yeah. So I'll throw that one out there just to start us off.
Well, I always recommend Ray Earth whenever we do one of these, because when we were talking about differences between anime now and then, isekai is completely different from now from what it was back then. Because now it's all video games. Back then it wasn't video games. It was usually a female lead. It was almost always shoujo or josei. And it was about actual fantasy worlds.
Inuyasha.
So, you know, yep, Inuyasha. Although some people I think that Inuyasha isn't actually an isekai, it's a time travel. I don't know, but Ray Earth,
I can literally
Escaflowne.
hear the people with their glasses putting their shit up.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me, it's time travel.
Because I said that last time, and someone's like, "It's not isekai." I was like, "Okay."
It's not isekai.
Shugyogi. There's 12 Kingdoms. There's a lot of them out there, and they were always female leads. And yeah, so it's interesting how that took such a change from like shoujo to now it's male fantasy, power fantasies. Yeah.
The magical harems.
That's such a great point. Like nowadays, if you look at isekai, I feel like it's almost always male, always a man traveling.
I don't think I've seen a lady one. Have we seen a lady one?
Not lately. Not that I know.
Not lately.
Not lately, right? Yeah.
But they're having a resurgence in manga, though. Manga right now, the big thing in manga right now are girls being sent into their otome games.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. A dream come true.
I don't know about that.
I
play those games. There's a lot of assholes in their games.
You don't want to be teleported into a world where you can have 7 assholes fawning over you?
My dreams.
There are isekai shows where it's a group of people and one of them is a girl.
Chad's saying Chuck Kun wasn't busy back then.
Chuck Kun.
Chuck Kun's got a business now.
Chuck Kun's in business, baby. I love you, Chad. That's good.
You know what's also interesting is now there are so many little sister animes.
Oh my god!
But when you look back into the 90s and early 80s, it was actually a very big shoujo trope. All the shoujos were like about the girl falling in love with their brother, and it was like a big, I don't know, I guess like a kink among shoujo. Old shoujo is always like the closest person to you is your twin, so then the girl would always fall in love with her brother. And now somewhere that changed. Now it's like, I love my little sister.
That's so strange, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a little like pocket of anime out there because I think that they very closely resemble Bunny Girl Senpai, and we're gonna be talking about Bunny Girl Senpai pretty short order here, and that is the old school KyoAni key visual arts anime, and they did several of these. And when I'm watching Bunny Girl Senpai, I can't help but think of Clannad.
Yeah,
it's so similar.
In a weird way, I feel you.
It's very similar, and this goes even like I'm going to go even further back than Clannad here, back to like to canon, which is pre-Clannad, and then even older than that, Air.
I never finished canon. I finished Air though.
All of these shows are very. They're generally about like girl characters that sort of have like a supernatural sort of problem that is affecting them. They're all generally very nice looking shows. They're all KyoAni animated, so people love KyoAni. But this should be a show that you go back and watch just because you love KyoAni and it's beautiful. But if you like Bunny Girl Senpai, this Air canon Clannad After Story, which maybe that Clannad After Story might be too new, and so might Clannad be, but like Air and canon are definitely like in the retro category at this point, and might be worth going back and checking out if you like Bunny Girl Senpai. I just couldn't help but think of them because like they so strongly I was trying to look up the cast and the creator and like is there some close tie between these shows and admittedly, I didn't look that hard, but I checked a few things and couldn't find any connection. But these are really good shows.
I think the pacing is really similar.
Yeah, they're little arcs. They'll have like a person will have a problem where they're like, they're going to disappear from the world, or they're dying because something weird is going on, and there's some supernatural problem, and like, you know, a guy character is involved, and he's kind of helping fix these supernatural problems, and it's like a 3 to 4 episode arc, and then they go to the next girl. These shows are that is what Bunny Girl Senpai is, and that is what these shows are. So you might want to check them out. Air and Canon. Yep.
Yeah. An older anime that I'll just throw an older anime that I always like to point people to, because it gets no hype ever, is Genshiken. We've talked about it on the podcast before. It's about a club of like geeks in college that hang and just do like geek stuff. And it's really great characters that just vibe together and grow together as a group. Yeah, and the animation is exactly everything we're talking about here. It's really old, really dated, but it's really nice. So Genshiken, to me, if you want a good slice of life with good characters that just do things, it's good stuff.
I recommend Gankutsuo or The Count of Monte Cristo. I know that's not like from the 90s, but it's early 2000s.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one is... I love that. I love that movie. That shows so much.
Gem, dude. Visual gem.
I will say some of the patterns that they use like the I know there's a name for it. It's like the static pattern technique, where all of the colors in everybody's clothes, the backgrounds, everything is colored by this static pattern. And when they move, that pattern doesn't like move with them, if that makes sense. And like they move in the pattern, like
move, yeah.
Yeah, the outlines move, but the pattern doesn't. And some of them are very loud. Like some of the like Albert's like suits are super loud and they're really hard on the eyes. But after a while, you get used to it. But yeah, I highly recommend that one. There's some really crazy CG in it too, but it's like 2004.
Animated by the now struggling Studio Gonzo.
Yeah, but it's like loosely based on the Count of Monte Cristo. It takes a different turn than the books, and there's a lot of like sci-fi elements to it. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one a lot.
Cool. Yeah, I watched that. I presented that at an anime club back in college, but we didn't get very far because too many people were complaining about the way its art style. But I was, it's back then I was rolling my eyes at them, but acquiescing. I'll just throw one more out here real quick, and I want to throw Steam Boy out. Steam Boy is a movie that slipped into the obscurity pretty quick, but it had a lot of hype when it came out because its original creator and director is Katsuhiro Otomo, who was the creator of Akira. And Steam Boy is absolutely a visual masterpiece. Came out in 2004, and it's done by Studio 4 Degrees Centigrade, so a lot of you guys will know that, and Sunrise worked on it as well. But yeah, it's like a Victorian Europe action show about this family that developed this like steam-based technology that would allow like for an industrial revolution, basically. And there's so much incredible action in this movie, complete with like people flying around with jetpacks using steam power. I mean, it is an intensely...
That sounds awesome.
It's an absolute visual like masterpiece movie, and I remember that this movie had such hype before it came out back in like 15 years ago or so, and then like it came out, and I remember thinking it was good. I remember thinking, well, this isn't Akira, but what is? And then it just vanished, and you never hear about it anymore ever. And Steam Boy is a really cool movie. It's definitely worth checking out, and it's created by a true master. I mean, Katsuhiro Otomo is like, he's like an anime legend, So worth checking out for sure, especially if you like period pieces, because it's in Victorian England. It's definitely a very cool movie. So
cool.
That's the last one I'm going to recommend, and then once you guys wrap up, we'll dive right into some of these suggested by the listeners because I want to hear what they have to say.
Oh, okay. I can steam through mine. I only had a couple. Kimono Zume is an interesting one, and also Kaiba. They're both Yuasa film or shows. Kaiba, I think, is probably my favorite of his. Well, no, that's not entirely true. It's up there, though. It's a really good one. Kimono Zume, part of it almost has like a very Tokyo Ghoul feeling to me. about like these flesh eaters and this also faction that is fighting flesh eaters and forbidden love between the two. So I think that would be interesting to check out. And there's also Bartender. Bartender is one that I haven't heard a lot of people ever talk about. It's about this guy who has a bar called Eden. And he has the ability to like mix drinks that can arouse like memories within a person. And it's kind of like using alcohol to, or like using these different cocktails to heal somebody. So you learn about the different drama and all these different people and customers that come to his establishment, and then he knows exactly what to mix for them. And it also teaches you a little bit about how the drinks are made.
That sounds cool. Very unique idea.
Yeah. It's a seinen, so it's it has a very kind of cerebral feel to it.
Sure. All right, so anything else from you, Enzo, before we move on to the listeners?
No, I'm good here, yeah.
So Icy Rose asked our listeners what their favorite retro anime was, and there was a lot of response. So starting with, I'm not going to read the @ symbol when there is one. Adam Tiumlaws says, Galaxy Express 999. It's definitely a classic show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Huff Daddy suggests Rurouni Kenshin, and I have a I have a feeling Rurouni Kenshin's not going to be. This isn't going to be the last time this one pops up on here. Oh my god, I rented every disc of Rurouni Kenshin through Netflix.
You have what?
Netflix. You used to be able to rent like a disc, like 3 DVDs at a time.
Yeah, I used to.
I think Kenshin's on Netflix still.
Yeah, but I mean, like back in the day, before Netflix was even streaming, it
was on Crunchyroll for a while. Did they take it off?
Oh, I don't know. They would mail you 3 DVDs. You'd watch them and you'd send them back. Is how like
you take them back to the grocery store and drop them in the bin.
That's how their system worked. And Rurouni Kenshin is like 16 DVDs or whatever. And so literally I spent like, 3 months of a Netflix subscription, maybe even more than that, getting and like watching and sending back nothing but Rurouni Kenshin. Moneybags133 says this gem of the early 2000s, right before Dragon Ball Z, Legendary Armor Samurai Troopers.
I haven't heard of that one.
Neither have I.
Legendary Armor Samurai Troopers. I'm gonna look that up.
J Tudor 56 has a few here. Rom the One Half, which we all know. Bubblegum Crisis. I kind of wonder if he means the original or the Tokyo 2040 version. G Gundam and Yu Yu Hakusho. I still have to finish Yu Yu Hakusho. I haven't finished it. Jeffrey Ardent. I'm going to see Space Adventure Cobra at an anime convention. Is one of my favorite memories with my friends, especially since one of them is the spitting image of the title character. Do you guys have any experience with Space Adventure Cobra?
No, that sounds like such an old like cheesy American movie or something.
Yeah, so Cobra is a really old property, but it pops up now and then. I think the last one came out in around like 2010, and he's like,
I've seen the character before with the crazy blonde hair.
Yeah, crazy blonde hair.
Always smoking a cigarette.
Always has a cigar. I think a cigarette or a cigar. Always. And he's got like a gun, like the psycho gun. That's like that. His arm is a gun, and it's a little like chauvinist, but I mean, it's from an old time in Japan. So, but like it's definitely like a James Bond feely like sci-fi action show. It's pretty cool. Chris Mararak, Ramna One Half again is a classic.
Yeah, people love that shit.
Yeah.
El Hazard and Escaflowne. I love Escaflowne so much. Also, did anyone think Ride Back was like Oh My Goddess minus the goddess and replaces it with Full Metal Panic?
I never
thought of that.
Ride Back left so much to be desired for me that I almost forget it existed.
Yeah, but it has such a cool idea, didn't it? With the girl,
it did,
the ballerina girl who gets.
That had the potential to be one of the best dramas ever.
Yeah, I mean,
like sci-fi mech drama, like with a really cool premise. It just wasn't that.
You're not wrong. Yeah, it's about. So for those of you that don't remember Ride Back, it's about a girl who like breaks her ankle or something.
Her legs are messed up like pretty bad.
Yeah, she gets hurt doing ballet, and it's like her life's passion. And so but there's these like mechanical things that you ride on called ride backs, and she always felt like when she was riding on them, it made her feel like she was doing ballet again. So she becomes like really adept at them, but then like uses them to commit crimes or something. I can't remember exactly what.
I forget. It went in a direction that I was just like, really, like y'all gonna take this premise, and a premise like that is so rare in anime. Like a really truly unique idea is so rare. Yeah. And I was like, really, like y'all took it that direction. Like that's a shame.
Ryan Nooner says Venus Wars, Midnight Eye Goku, and Wicked City.
Oh, Wicked City.
These are some old ones. Yeah, Wicked City. That's some friggin' twisted shit. Yeah, Wicked City's
wild, bro.
Rough ass show. Rough movie.
Spider vagina monsters.
Oh yeah.
And that old dude that's always like having sex with tons of women.
Oh yeah.
Really old guy. Richard Kingston says Gunbuster. I watched that in college. Gunbuster. It's a really good show. With an old Gainax show. So Jesse Sutton says 3x3 Eyes. I haven't watched that, but I know I need to. It's a shonen show, I think, and it's not that long. Peter van der Ploeg says, since the AAA hosts don't have a lot of time, I recommend something short and sweet like Riding Bean from 1989. It's a great 45-minute OVA by Kenichi Sonoda that is one and done. Action, car chases, and lesbians. What more do you want?
Wait, what? Come again? What the wait? Action, car chases.
What more could you ask for?
What more could you fucking want?
I don't know. Sounds like a drinking episode anime right there.
Yeah, it looks like it's an OVA that's 46 minutes long.
And Peter, I apologize for butchering your name. Gordon Hall says Saber Marionette J. All of the series as well as Blue Seed. We mentioned Blue Seed earlier.
Oh wow, we did.
Yeah. That was an old Action Channel TV show.
Yeah. Wow.
Action Channel had some really cool anime on it.
They curated pretty okay from what I remember. From what I would remember reading about that shit. Because I don't think I ever watched it, but yeah.
Yeah, they had like.
Chibi Rob says Riding Bean's coming back. What? Apparently I don't know. Says they got a Kickstarter release and new anime's being made.
A Kickstarter for an anime that has action, car chases, and fucking lesbians?
Yeah. Icy says the prequel to Gunsmith Cats.
Oh yeah, look, it's right. I see it right here.
What more do you need to have?
What more do you need? You got everything.
You need nothing else.
Anime's coming back, baby.
You have all the ingredients for a Kickstarter.
What more do you...
Love it.
I love it.
Craig,
I love our listeners, man.
Yeah. Craig DeWald, Johannes Martins, Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, Eat Man, Cowboy Bebop.
Eat Man? What is Eat Man?
Never heard of that. And there's one more my brain wants to throw at me, and I just can't remember the title. Oh,
classic.
Okay.
Welcome to the club,
Man.
friend.
Please tell me he eats everything.
Eat Man.
I'm looking it up.
James.
Well, there are a lot of pictures of him with stuff in his mouth, so we got the name right.
Such as?
I don't know what this is. I don't know. What's in his mouth?
I'll read
There's an axe in one of them. One's an axe.
James Hill says Yu Yu Hakusho, Pokemon 1999, GTO, Golden Boy, they speak in my language now, Area 88, and Cardcaptor Sakura. I've actually seen most of those.
Yeah.
Gerald R. de Peralta. Let's say the Philippines is a rabid Yu Yu Hakusho country, but what I really like is the original Uchu Senkan Yamato, Space Battleship Yamato. Yeah, I didn't know that about the Philippines.
I love Space Battleship Yamato.
I thought you said Battleship for a second.
Battleship Yamato? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I love that anime though. It's really good. I even like the reboot of it that came out recently.
Matthew Van Diver, Irresponsible Captain Tyler, and El Hazard, The Magnificent World. It's another vote for El Hazard. Kathy Walker suggests Project A-ko, which is like a big panty anime. Cat's Eye and Haunted Junction. Wow.
Haunted Junction sounds familiar to me.
Oh, here's one from Katie Shiver, who I know very well. She says Iria Zaram the Animation, and I couldn't agree more with that suggestion. Stephen Fitzgerald Hall says, no one said this yet, but record of Lodos War. And another El Hazard. It's a third
El
one.
Hazard.
So much love. Oh, and...
Oh, can I read the next one, please?
Yeah.
Okay. This one comes from Cornelia
Hey, you're the one that wanted to do it.
Yep, I didn't think that far ahead. Okay.
That is
Cornelia,
1, 2, 3, 4,
fucking up
5,
your last name.
6 consonants in a row, which means your name.
It looks like
Looks like Cornelia.
No, Cornelia. Yeah, but the last name Mistinska. Sorry, I'm so sorry. But they say Super Pig.
It looks like an old magical girl anime.
Super Pig is so cool.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for weighing in. And so just, when you throw out names of anime like this, people will listen and get interested, and then they start watching them. So you kind of like breathe life into some of these shows all over again.
I commend all of you guys to go off into your respective preferred search engines and Google these. God damn it, Google. I'm brainwashed by them.
All right, who wants to read the intro trivia question to get us to the news break?
I can do it. Our intro trivia question, which we'll answer after the break, is a name that anime. Imagawa Hayao, I think that's how you pronounce it, is a 30-year-old virgin bachelor. One day, a cupid descends from heaven with the express purpose of forcing him to graduate from virginity. Thus unfolds a pure love story between the 30-year-old bachelor and a 30-year-old bachelorette. What is that anime? We'll answer it after the break.
Stick around. Bunny Girl Senpai coming right up. Hey anime addicts, Mitsuki is in the house, and it's time for some anime news. It looks like Berserk, the manga, is returning from hiatus. The 8th issue of Young Animal magazine announced recently that Kentaro Miura's fantasy Berserk manga is coming back from hiatus, and they're going to have a resumed serialization in the magazine's 9th and 10th issues, which are coming on April 26th. So this manga has been on hiatus since August of last year. If you're a big fan of the Berserk property, look forward to more of the manga coming out later this month. Next up, it looks like Nanatsu no Taizai is getting a new television anime in the fall of 2019. The new anime series is going to depict the fierce battle between the 10 Commandments, the fate of Melodius and Elizabeth, the secrets of the world, and head towards the story's climax. Looks like the story is getting towards its conclusion. Of course, the animation production is done by Studio Dean. Pretty popular anime series that's been running for quite some time. So if you're a fan of Nanatsu no Taizai, look out for more of this coming out in the fall of 2019. Next up, Yahoo News had an article that was based around an interview that they had with Toshio Suzuki, the former producer of Studio Ghibli, discussing why Suzuki feels like it isn't necessarily a requirement for a studio such as Ghibli to be always driving towards profits. He says, quote, "I don't know if Ghibli's financial accounts are open to the public, but when you look at all the years and look at the numbers, they're all over the place. Just when you think the studio made a huge break one year, the next year it'll make 1/10 of that number. At companies these days, everyone thinks, let's aim for 10% growth for next year. I can't think like that. Why is it that you must have growth?" As Suzuki has said. Definitely a different way of thinking in today's business world by an old school producer of one of the most famed anime studios ever, Studio Ghibli. If you want to read more about this article, it is an article with Yahoo News that was posted on April 5th, so you can go find this online fairly easily. Next up, and lastly for this news break, it looks like a pretty goofy little VR game has been put out on the 360 channel service for VR games called Locker Boys. In Locker Boys, you get to spend some alone time with cute boy anime characters. You can choose to sort of fraternize with one of 3 boy characters that all kind of have a different stereotype in the anime world. In the videos, you are the player, and you're looking through the locker of the boy of your choosing, and then you, I guess, try to hide inside the locker when someone approaches, but eventually you are discovered by the boy, and he just has a very nonchalant conversation with you, as if it's not unusual for you to be hiding inside his locker at all. But the pictures of this are pretty ridiculous. And if you want to go check this out, it's definitely a pretty interesting sort of thing. Each video costs 400 yen from the 360 channel, and they're compatible for PC, iOS, Android, Oculus Go, Oculus Rift, Gear VR, Daydream View, and a number of other platforms for VR, so you can check that out. This is Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break. Now, as always, time to get back to the podcast.
My friends are annoyed because they think I have forgotten their actual names. I just call them my senpais and kohais now.
I threw a tennis ball at my cat. I was so caught up in the moment and thought maybe I could capture her, and then we could go on adventures together.
I purchased a motorcycle just so I could pretend I was Onizuka.
I answered the phone with Moshi Moshi.
My poor cat.
I may actually have a problem.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Hello, I'm Mandy from the Anime Addicts Anonymous. Do any of these symptoms sound familiar to you? Do you have 8,572 waifus? Do you struggle with having the theme song to Attack on Titan stuck in your head, even though Jaeger is the only word you know? Then you may be experiencing anime addiction. If you are experiencing anime addiction, then you should visit our website, AAAPodcast.com. At Anime Addicts Anonymous, we have dedicated ourselves to making your anime addiction worse. Worse! Yes, worse. Because the real world just plain sucks. So many resources await you. For just $5 a month, you will have unlimited access to our Hobby Addicts episodes. You will also have access to our hentai episodes, where you can watch a hentai along with us and hear our commentary. Give our after party episodes a listen, where you can hear us struggle to talk about our boring lives outside of anime. That $5 will go to helping us spread anime addiction throughout the world. Yes, it is time for you to make your anime addiction worse.
You know me? Of course!
Oh, you like this jam, do you?
Oh, dude, I jam out all the time. Alright, listeners, Eagles hits, baby.
Alright, Imagawa Hayao is a 30-year-old virgin bachelor. One day, a Cupid descends from heaven with the express purpose of forcing him to graduate from virginity. Thus unfolds a pure love story between a 30-year-old bachelor and bachelorette, and that anime is...
A 30-year-old's health and physical education.
That's right.
I've never heard of this. I'm looking it up.
It sounds interesting to me.
I don't think it's that old, so... And while you're doing that, I'm going to jump right into the 5-star review. As we always do, have a 1 for the week, so here we go.
Time for iTunes review.
So, if you want to leave an iTunes review, you can go to iTunes and help us continue to pile on an endless count of reviews. We're at like 510 now or something, so it's pretty cool. So we're never going to run out of these, and we love that. Dead Deldum says, the cast really makes you feel like you've known them your whole life and never fail to get plenty of laughs out of me. I have shared parts of their episodes with friends who are not even fans of anime, and they enjoy this podcast as well. Though I disagree a lot on with a lot of the reviews, they do a great job bringing new views to light, and that's really the great thing about multiple opinions. If I were to have any complaints about this podcast, it would be that they never last long enough. See?
Oh my god.
I'm telling you, despite being around 2+ hours, plus the additional episodes for those lucky subscribers, definitely a show for all. See, I'm telling you, like
Dildum.
Yeah.
What do you
Everyone
think?
says
What do you think we are?
Keep going forever.
As long as record all week.
Record all Sunday.
We just had a conversation about this, not on the podcast, about like how long the podcast is, and I was like, I'm telling you, these people. It's like
it's funny because I think people don't realize that our goal is to be an hour long.
The podcast, 45 minutes to an hour is usually, actually, a lot of people say 30 minutes to 45 minutes is the ideal length for a podcast. But every time I do a poll or something like this pops up, it's always make it longer. So, oh well. All right, so we have
thank you, though.
Yeah,
thank you for the review.
Yes. And thanks for sharing with people. That is the best thing you guys could do. Tweet about us, share the links, share the Spotify link, all that stuff. Thank you so much.
If all of you share our podcast with one of your friends who watch anime, that would really help. So we'd appreciate that.
Yeah. And make sure you say that there's this guy on the podcast named Enzo who's like really fucking cool. Like he's so cool. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, guys.
He is the
You
coolest.
guys are the best.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do a review of Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, which is a listener choice anime from, I don't even know what season this is from. I think the fall, I would say.
Eons ago, friend.
So the synopsis on Mao is not really, I don't know, it's never adequate.
It is a very surface level description because it literally only matters about it only covers like the first little arc of the show.
Basically, there's this thing called puberty syndrome in the anime, and it causes all these sorts of supernatural problems to afflict pretty much everybody in the show.
Yeah.
And they all have some kind of a unique and interesting sort of dilemma that they need to sort of unravel that normally stem from some kind of like an emotional distress or a problem in their lives. And so there's this boy named Sakuta who has these problems himself, but he also seems to be involved with a lot of the other people that have these issues, and he sort of helps them through their problems. And, one by one, people start to overcome the problems that they face in their youth, I guess. And it's sort of a difficult anime to put a synopsis around.
Yeah, because the synopsis that what actually happens is boy meets girl, and then boy helps other people, right? Like that's essentially what happens. But
pretty much
got this whole sci-fi twist on it too. It's hard to describe without giving a lot away. So
yeah, I think it's like a boy has a problem when he was younger, and so he wants to help other people with similar problems. It's kind of how it plays out. So this is an anime done by Cloverworks, who worked on Promised Neverland, Persona 5 the animation, and honestly, I think they did quite a good job with this anime.
Yeah. I think this studio is good. Promised Neverland to me, it was a ridiculously great show. So they're on a good trajectory here.
The director is Soichi Masui, who worked on Sakura Quest and Scrapped Princess, so he's been around for quite a while. What would you guys say your expectations were going into this anime? Because I personally knew pretty much nothing about it and I guess that's because that's how I wanted it going into it.
Okay. Mine is pretty simple. I will fully admit that I completely judged the book by its cover for this one. I remember reading the title and being like, that sounds stupid. And then I saw the key visual and I was like, this is going to be a pervy ecchi show. And that's what I was like. I unfortunately had that kind of decision made up in my head that this was going to be a try-hard anime that's going to have a lot of ecchi in it. And not even well done. If you can even do ecchi well, but you probably can, right? Hold on. So, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you to everyone that said bless you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I really genuinely that's what I felt going in. I was like, this is gonna be an anime that's trying way too hard because of this fucking title, and based on the key visual with this girl in a bunny suit, I'm probably not gonna like this.
How about you, Mandy?
I didn't really have many expectations because I watched it week to week. So, but from what I watched when we did the impressions of it, I saw a lot of the anime community. I'll go deeper into it later on, and probably when we get into spoiler territory. But a lot of people saying this is exactly like the Monogatari series, and so that's what I was expecting.
Okay.
I'm so sorry for that. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, friend.
So, but I can get deeper into those similarities and differences later on.
Well, I haven't watched much of the Monogatari series, but I think that if you... My recommendation is that this anime is perfect for people who liked Clannad. Like, this, to me, this anime is about as similar to Clannad as I've seen since then. It's, right down to, like, the types of characters, the style of comedy, some of the stories, and even the hair colors. Like, even the hair colors remind me of
the eyes. The eyes are what make me want to agree with you for some.
It's just it felt like Clannad so much. I think that if you're a person who likes sort of witty supernatural stories, or want to have like, you know, almost like it's almost like a supernatural slice of life almost. I don't know. It's like it's difficult to put my finger on. What do you think? Are we in recommendations right now? Yeah, we're just saying spoiler free recommendation.
Yeah, I think if you are, what I got out of this was a nice refresher on how I know in anime there could be a genuinely nice, like, witty back and forth between a set of characters without it being like overly perverted or overly like cheesy or whatever. I really enjoyed the dialogue in this anime. Sometimes it's silly, sometimes it was like, what are you even saying? But I really like the interactions between Mai and Sakuta a lot, and I think that's what pushed this anime toward the better half of things that came out from that season for me. But very much so. So if you want witty, like really well done witty banter, definitely watch this show. If you like seeing anime where someone is trying to get people through things, you can watch this anime too. If you're expecting a wild, like crazy love story romance, it's not really that. It really does focus on the puberty syndrome stuff. So if you like all those things, watch it.
Which, by the way,
actually in general, I would in general recommend this if you have if you're through like your main things you're trying to watch and you have time for something else, you could throw this on. I think you wouldn't be disappointed.
And by the way, puberty syndrome in this has nothing to do with puberty.
Yeah, I think
they even call it adolescence syndrome.
Yeah, it's adolescence syndrome in the show. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is an interesting one. I think if you're a big fan of light novels as well, you might enjoy this one a lot, because to me it felt like a light novel anime, and I know it's based off of a light novel. So if you really like those male protagonists, and it's not really much of a harem, but he does like fix girl problems. If you like that type of story, go for it. And it does have some really nice witty dialogue in it. And if you are also like interested in kind of like the concept, the very superficial part of the Monogatari series, but it's too much for you, you could try this one out as well. I think, I don't know if it would be for somebody who is like really wants like a really like true high school story, because I don't know, I do agree with of it that the characters don't feel real. They don't talk like real people. But so yeah, I don't know. I think if you fit in that category somehow, there you just really like light novel stories, try that out.
And on that note, Futaba is my wife.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
So that's going to get to us to our spoiler section, where we're going to talk about the show in more depth. So if you are not wanting spoilers, maybe jump ahead 20 minutes. So the show, it's interesting. I was actually really shocked this failed. I was thinking about it. Like, the first 3 episodes of this anime, to me, are the strongest part of the show. And so when I watched the first 3 episodes and how it's like this perfectly contained story arc. And by the way, this anime is broken into like 5 or 6 different small story arcs. The first 3 episodes, their story arc is so tight, and it ends on episode 3. And I thought it was the best arc of the show, and I thought that it was a well-told, really well-told, very compelling, like emotionally piece of the show. That like, I was actually really shocked. I had to like, I was asking like, I couldn't remember how, like, why this failed, and I was really surprised it did, because to me the first 3 episodes of the show was like pretty close to perfect. Like, it really strongly resembled F: A Tale of Memories, which some of you have seen that.
I can see that. I can kind of see that. Yeah.
Which is in that the first arc is about this girl who, her adolescent syndrome. Her name's Mai. Her problem is that she used to be like a child actor, and so she was like seen by everybody. But then eventually, like, she kind of slips from the spotlight and becomes like generally unnoticed by people. And they bring in this like Schrodinger's cat sort of theory, where it's like, if no one in the world notices you, do you exist, right? Like, if everybody, if every single human being overlooks the same billboard in New York City, is it really there? And so she starts disappearing from the world, and nobody can see her. And so, like, you start to get this story where the main character is trying to, like, struggle and fight and try to find a way that he won't forget her. And that's a lot of, like, what F: A Tale of Memories is, where I think it's, like, he has to talk to her every, like, 12 hours or something, or he'll forget her. Or she'll forget him because her memory loss. She has, like, short-term memory loss. So it kind of reminded me of that. And I loved the beginning of this anime so much. Yeah, I thought it was so strong.
Yeah, so do I. And I really think it comes from the fact that we have a male lead who is, yes, he is silly, but he is also very in control of how he feels and is honest with that. And he doesn't get, he is, he's silly when it comes to, like, being a little, like, he says like little pervy jokes, but they come from a humorous place. And though he might have an alternative motive to be like, oh my god, I really hope you do kiss me when I say this joke, but it sounds more like we're just teasing each other by saying this because Mai understands his humor. And that's, and then with that, like, I think Mai is just a great character, because she is, like, beautiful, and yes, she is, like, like, she's made out to be like the, like, ultimate waifu at this high school, but she does not, when she's speaking, it doesn't come through at all. She just seems like a very, like, I'm just doing my thing. Like, I'm just here to do my thing. I'm just genuine and honest. And I think because of those two things, those two characters just mesh super well. And Sakuta's is brave. Like, he is a brave dude. Yeah. Like,
he got some balls on him.
Yeah.
And he's a virgin.
And, yeah, he
shouts that out in one episode.
Yeah, he is a brave guy. Like, he throughout the anime, he is faced with these situations where he has to take action, and he does. Like, he takes action. He doesn't crumble. He doesn't pull a Shinji and, like, just starts crying and shit, right? Like, he's just like, holy fuck, I have to do something. I'm gonna do this right now because I believe in it, right? So that was what was refreshing for me, especially in the beginning of this anime, because the beginning of this anime could have been probably one of the better beginnings to a romance I've seen in a super fucking long time.
Yeah.
Like, in a really, like, with those first 3 episodes, I could have watched the whole anime about just them being in a romantic relationship together.
Dude, I was thinking like, this show would have been, we're going to get to it, but I almost wanted them to make this first 3 episodes the anime. Like, extend this to 12 episodes and make that the story.
I think if they had just focused on those 2 and left everyone else out, I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
I think so too, and I'm so with you, Mandy. Like, yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was now, but I would have, like, probably enjoyed it for, like, tenfold if it was just Sakuta and Mai.
Yeah.
After the first 3 episodes, yeah.
So going into it, I saw a lot of, oh my gosh, comments everywhere online saying, this is exactly like Monogatari. So I understand the, like, very simple similarities between the two if you look at it like a very, very, like, the very surface of it. Like both are coming of age stories. Our complicated emotions arise when you're approaching adulthood. Both involve main boy meeting a cold girl who struggles with communicating with people, and is also inflicted with a supernatural phenomenon that's caused by her stress in life. And both end up in a relationship where they throw witty, flirtatious remarks at each other, and both continue to have main boy encountering other girls who are inflicted with supernatural phenomenon. And even some of the other girls have like little tiny similarities to the girls in the Monogatari series, very tiny though. Sure. Outside of that, I think the biggest difference between the two is where Bunny Girl Senpai starts to fall down for me, because like putting all of the obvious like directorial differences aside, and Monogatari's like
obvious
massive meta commentary that it does, because Monogatari is very meta. But the biggest difference between the two is how the problems are solved for each of them, because the Monogatari series has a message behind it. It's like only you can save yourself. And like the character Oshino, Meme Oshino, drives that home with a lot of his quotes. Like, people can only save themselves. One person saving another is impossible. And he flat out refuses to help people if they lack the drive to face their own issues. So when like Araragi in Monogatari brings a girl to him who's suffering from like an aberration, he will only give her the ability to face the aberration, and it's up to her to realize what is actually causing the problem and come to terms with it. And Araragi, just like Sakura, does want to help people, and he tries, but when he does, he makes it far worse. And the issue isn't solved until she can actually face it herself. Bunny Girl Senpai, I feel like Sakura has too much to do with all of these girls and how they change. Like for sure. Calling everybody out at school is what changes it. And also, it's really weird that Mai has this traumatic experience with her acting career, and his solution is you should go back into acting. I'm like, no, she shouldn't do that. Futaba, Sakura tells her to call herself on the phone to bring the two Fs together. Tomoe, Sakura tells her the only way to get past, like, to stop the time rewind is to confront your feelings for me. Nadoka, my sister, he has to go and search through her apartment to find the tin and bring it to them of the pictures so that they can finally talk it over. And I feel like the only one that I really, really enjoyed, Kaeda, which is his sister, or Kaede, his sister's really good one that I liked. Yeah. Because at the beginning of the series, I thought she was just a massive trope, a little girl trope. And then I really like that the way she acts, like, over, has too much of a, like, brother love complex that is actually explained through her, loss of memory is part of her, adolescent syndrome. And the way she decides to fix it is she decides herself, I need to change, and I need to face all of my fears to change this. And Sakura helps her, because it's okay to get help, but I like that she's the one who is like, I have to change this. So, I don't know. I don't like the idea of Sakura fixing girls. I would prefer it to be a 100%. Message of, you need to figure out, like, you need to have the drive to fix it yourself.
100%. And, like, that's actually the thing I have against the anime is that, is that after Mai's arc, the first 3 episodes, right? It just became a cycle of, like, problem, Sakuta struggling to solve, Sakuta solves. Next problem, struggling to solve, he solves. Next problem, struggling to solve, he solves. And then at the end, it like just like ends, you know? So that's where, if that's the bone I have to pick with the anime, because it's a shame because the first 3 episodes set up such potential, and I had to compare against that potential the whole time innately, right? Because I felt how good that first 3 episode arc was, that I wanted everything else to be that great, and none of them were as good as Mai's arc. Testament to how great her character is, but then also, like, you put your eggs in one basket and then you didn't, like, let that basket be your focus. So while all the other characters, sure, they were interesting, I guess, but, like, I just wanted to see more of Mai the whole time. More, and specifically more of Mai and Sakuta growing together. And they do try and tie that in, like, while he's helping other girls, like, he's also developing with Mai, and like Mai is a human being. She's organic. She feels some type of way sometimes when he's helping other girls. And he also like admits that he's like has to pay more attention to her and everything. Like, and you can see them growing that way. But like, I really like at the end of the day, I really just wanted Mai and Sakuta to be on screen all the time and like grow, like for real, grow that romance as the main focus of the show. I could not get that out of my fucking head, and I was trying so hard because I knew that that's not what the show was. Like, the show was about adolescent syndrome.
Oh, it's because you're a romantic boy.
And I just couldn't stop. Like, I could not stop myself from being like, oh, like, because I like, for example, I like Futaba. Like, I like her as a character, right?
Yeah, she was my favorite.
Yeah, I like her. I like her in general. Like, Mandy, I think she's the criminal number one into why Kazuo feels the way he feels, because she just talks some wild science shit that like it's like, what are you saying?
And it's also kind of wild. She never takes off her lab coat ever.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, like what? It's like whatever you're saying, Futaba, sure, dude, whatever.
It's that trip of also making coffee in beakers. It's kind of funny.
Which is kind of I back it.
Bunsen burner coffee.
Although,
coffee, yeah.
I will say the best part of the show, though, is when Sakura goes to her and says, I need to fix this. And then she's like, well, I just called your girlfriend to come and pick you up. And then Mike goes in there and drags him off. I'm like, good job, Futaba, finally.
Dude, okay. And
tell
that's
him not to get his nose out of all this shit.
And that is a wonderful example as to why I love the dialogue in this show, because it like not. Like, it didn't feel like all the girls in the show, yes, they were all saved by Sakuta, but like none of them were like, oh my god, Sakuta, you're my savior, oh my god. It's just he happens to be the person that saved them, which, I mean, yes, it's still damsel in distress, and I'm very much tired and exhausted of that trope. But
the reason why this anime feels a lot like Clannad to me, once again, is because you'll remember from Clannad, there's a boy character named Tomoyo Okazaki, who is the boy who literally goes from girl to girl and helps them solve their problems.
Yeah.
100%. And that's not to say that's bad. Like honestly, like Clannad is a great show. So like, you know, that's fine. But like that combined with the fact that a lot of the girl characters in Clannad, especially the one girl with the little stars, what the hell is that girl's name? Fuko. Fuko. Her name's Fuko.
Oh, my brain just exploded.
She's the first one. So like Fuko has a problem that you would absolutely say is adolescent syndrome from Bunny Girl. They all have the same hair color. It's very similar. It's like shockingly similar.
Oh man, Sakura and his friend look exactly the same.
But
oh my god, Mandy.
To your
I thought you were talking about like the similarities, like.
Oh, I am. I'm talking about how similar this is to Clannad. Like it's
I'm sorry.
It's like the same show. Which is not to say that's bad necessarily, because you know Clannad is, you know, it's 11 years old now, and it's a really good show. And Clannad After Story is uber good.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong, and honestly, he spends so much time fixing these other girls' problems that he doesn't spend any time with Mai, his own girl. So he's like, he's super committed to Mai, and he goes to like very extraordinary lengths and does some really ballsy stuff for her in episode 3, and that was where I was like, I think episode 3 is the best episode of this anime. And I was like, wow, that's a great scene when he's like outside in the schoolyard shouting to the entire school building how much he loves this girl, and they're like, who the hell are you talking about? Because they've already forgotten her at that point. And then like right after that, he's like, oh, I'm going to go off and be this girl's girlfriend for 2 months so she can get over her problems. I'm like, what? like whatever happened to like being committed to your girl, and ultimately their relationship doesn't go anywhere. And it's partially her fault, because she's always like in some other city filming a video or whatever.
I wouldn't say it's her fault. It cannot be helped. Like
it cannot be helped, but but she's one of the reasons why they don't really progress as much as they could. But then again, the anime doesn't want them to, because right at the end there's a scene where they have a perfect opportunity to just have one over sexualized kiss, just like one romantic kiss moment.
Yeah.
And she instead she pinches his cheek and turns it into a joke again, and I'm like, well, that's anime for you. Roll my eyes.
Yeah, you know it's funny, like I'm actually so over romantic and like kiss endings. which is really weird for me to say, but I have not wanted that in a long time. But watching that last scene, I just really, really wanted them to kiss for fucking like for once. Like,
I'm not asking you to put it in. I'm not asking you for groping.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I wanted a kiss, one kiss in an anime where they tease it a whole lot.
Yeah.
And
it was
anime. You're never get it. You're never gonna get it.
Listen. Hey, listen. In anime, if a guy and a girl kiss, they might as well have the dirtiest sex you've ever seen because that shit doesn't happen. It's no wonder the birth rate in Japan is plummeting.
It's like I will just to go back a step on this. It was cool though that they did date, in general.
Sort of, because they sort of do.
Well, no, but they do because they do.
Do they ever go on a date?
They try.
I mean, do they?
Well, I mean, you can.
She can't date because it's against the rules.
Right, it's against the celebrity shit.
Her
but like,
idol rules.
He still goes to see her. Something like they see each other and stuff. But like, I think it's cool that the word boyfriend girlfriend was in the anime without it being like the most like taboo thing to say. Like it was a very like, in context. Normal, like it was a normal thing. Like they dated, they were boyfriend and girlfriend, which is nice, and that's why I wanted the kiss at the end because I was like, yo, like they've been dating now for like a bit, like
the whole damn show,
like the whole damn show they were dating, and that's why I was like, how about you?
And by the way, the show has like it tells you what month and day it is every episode.
Yes, it does.
Like like 6 months passes.
Wild.
I mean, doesn't it start in like?
I don't know.
It starts well before summer vacation because summer vacation is like when he starts fooling around with the little blonde girl, and then by the end of the show it's like November. So it's been a while. So just freaking kiss her, for God's sake.
I put up a picture in our chat of Sakura's friend. They look exactly the same.
Sakura
exactly the same.
Yeah, well, I actually like that dude a lot.
When they were on the train together, I was like, I don't know, until they open up their mouth and start talking.
Oh yeah, this is what is his name? Funimi or something. He's the basketball guy.
Yeah, it's Yuma. I think it was. Wasn't it Yuma?
I have no idea. This anime I was actually current with, so I finished it like a month ago. So like, sorry, I don't remember his name.
I would say
or more than a month ago, like way more than a month ago.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to it.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, yeah,
I did think it was really weird though that and I just want someone else's opinion on this because I don't know if other people agree that I thought it was weird that Sakura was so upset when his sister regained her memories because I thought that it was a traumatic experience that she lost her memories. So wouldn't he be happy that she's back to normal?
I thought that too. I couldn't. I was like, what is going on? Shouldn't he be happy about this?
Yeah, that also put me off. I was like, what are you stressed? Like, what's stressing you right now?
Did that you want your sister to be obsessed with you?
I think what I think it was is that I think he felt because Kaede, the clingy little sister version, and the actual Kaede, which is not going through that shit, were so vastly different that I think he felt lost. I think he felt like he lost his little sister that he had spent these last few months in this crazy time of his life with. So I think he felt lost at that version of his little sister that he got so close to for so long because she was like that for years, right?
I don't know if it was years.
I don't know how long it was.
Well, it was the whole time they were living together.
I know their parents moved away after. I mean, not moved away, but I mean, like they're living somewhere else right now because his mom couldn't deal with her
because they're the worst parents ever.
Yeah, awful parents.
Awful. So it's like wait a second. So your mom and dad, you're cool with the fact that your son goes to school all day and leaves the like 8-year-old daughter at home all alone all the time. What?
Yeah.
What is going on? I get it.
Chippy Rob said it was 2 years.
Yeah, so he was living with his sister so closely in the same place for 2 years, and then like that person is gone, So I think that's where it came from. But it is such a weird they played that out so strangely that I understand why you two were like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, I was confused. I didn't understand
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and also, I mean, I don't know. The whole ending didn't really, like, the whole going to school thing. I'm like, this girl couldn't even handle two girls on the street chuckling about literally nothing having remotely anything to do with you because you're so traumatized by your problem. How in the hell are you planning on going to school? You're like so epically far from being ready for that. If you can't even handle seeing two complete strangers on the street just like animatedly talking about something that has nothing to do with you, how in the world are you going to handle being in a classroom with like 40 other kids? I just don't see. I don't know why they were going in that direction. It didn't seem possible to me. So like the fact that she got her memories back at the end, you know, to me is a massive step towards solving that issue. So like he ought to be freaking thrilled that she's back to normal. So I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have much else to add other than the anime is aesthetically stunning. Both the art and the music are great. So I love the opening theme song.
I think the girls were very cute, but all the guys look exactly the same. I was like, him and his friend, exactly the same person. They're doppelgangers.
I love that scene when he fights the one boy on the at the train station and kicks him in the face and says, "I had poop on my shoe." That's hilarious.
Yeah, I like Sakura as I like Sakura and I like Mai, and I wish it would have just been about them, but then I don't know what they would have done about the whole adolescent syndrome thing then. Unless they could those two characters could have kept
scrap it.
Like, yeah, either that or just they encounter different versions of it. I don't know. I don't know what they could have done, but I prefer to have just focused on them.
Just scrap it and make it about Mai and her like possibly being forgotten, because that whole thing was very heartbreaking, and watching him struggle to stay awake so he wouldn't forget her was very intense. That was a very intense moment of the show, and they could easily have made that 12 episodes. So,
I think there's a movie coming out. But I think it's probably going to focus on the girl that we barely heard of, the one that disappeared.
Yep. I agree as well. I don't have anything else to add. I'm ready to give it a score.
Yeah, so am I. I am ready. I can go first too.
I'm going to go last.
Sure. I think my feelings on this one are like really like naturally organized. Mai and Sakuta were so refreshing for me, like super refreshing for me. Their dynamic is a dynamic that I crave in real life in terms of like, you know, being able to joke around, being able to be vulnerable with each other, being able to understand each other, being able to, you know, share, just be honest and not have to like act cool in front of each other, you know, like that kind of like being genuine like that is really nice to see reflected in the art form. So that's why I really love the first 3 episodes, and that's why unfortunately for me the rest of the show wasn't living up to that, and it kind of like bumped the show down for me a little bit. However, I do think the show overall is done well. It's written pretty okay. The music is awesome and the animation is nice. And so with that, I did enjoy the show a lot. I really did. It made my top 10 of 2018 right at the end there, because it did a lot of things better than other anime did. Even though the story didn't go where I wanted it to, when I look at it with an objective lens, it's still, you know, comparison-wise, beat out a lot of things that I watched in 2018, which is nice. It's nice. That's cool. It was cool to have experienced that. So with that, I will be giving Bunny Girl Senpai a 3.5 out of 5, just because like it could be a 4. It really could be a 4.
Yeah.
But it really could be a fucking 4. Sakuta and Mai, the first 3 episodes, are definitely a 4, and that's a shame that it didn't end on that. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5 pinched cheeks. Out of whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Nice one. So for me, the first 3 episodes of this anime were a 5. I loved it. I thought it was about as good as anything I've seen in a long time. I think that if the show had been about that, like if it had been that, the way that A Tale of Memories was about her memory loss, if it had been about him forgetting her because of the problem, because of the supernatural phenomenon, I think you're talking about a super intense drama. with like where the fans of the show are rooting so hard for them because they want them to be together, and forgetting her is just a super heartbreaking because like she goes on and she knows he forgot, and it would be terrible. Like the stakes are super high. It would have been awesome, but of course it doesn't do that. You know, it jumps in from girl to girl, and if unfortunately most of the girls after Mai aren't as satisfying of a story. The only other one for me that really stuck for me good was Futaba's, and I think it's because I like Futaba as a character. And so, yeah, for me, I'm gonna give it a super generous 4 Bunsen burner coffees out of 5. Very generous.
Burner coffees.
Very generous. I think that if I broke the arcs down, like the 5 arcs or whatever it is, into scores, it would be like 5, 3, 4, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, probably. But I'm gonna, because the first 3 episodes are so freaking good, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Bunsen burner coffees. I feel like that should be the name of a coffee company or a coffee shop.
Just make that the name of the damn anime because it makes about as much sense as the actual title.
True. Bunny Girl was only like in 2 episodes or a episode. She was like Bunny Girl for like 1 episode.
Yeah, I know. Like they really just hammered down on that.
Yeah,
for that short amount of time, dude.
I thought Bunny Girl Senpai was okay. I would say it's above average, but I feel like there were, like what I went through before, there was a lot preventing me from really, really enjoying it. I liked the first couple episodes with Mai and Sakura a lot, and then it kind of dropped off for me. And then it came back with the sister at the end. I like Kaede. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. Kaede or something. Kaede.
I think it's Kaede, right?
Yeah, his little sister. So. I liked that story. Because I really liked how she had this drive to change herself. I thought the animation was okay. I mean, the girls are really cute. Sakura looks generic as F. But yeah, I really like Sakura, and there's some really good dialogue in it as well. But if I had to score it, I think I would give it... I'm struggling here.
Come on, we gave you all the time in the world.
I know, I'm sorry.
Mandy's processing like a million things right now.
3 poop kicks.
Woo! She gives it the shoe. Yeah, you gave it a poop kick.
That's not a 3 isn't bad.
3 is no.
3 is above average.
3, yeah, it is.
You don't like eating dog shit?
No.
But no, I really think that it just depends on what your. I think this comes down to really like what your personal preferences are. Like I think a 3, a 3.5, and a 4 are all scores that I could see myself giving the show to, depending on how I fucking felt that day.
I think
it could range in there for sure.
I think a 3 was just lower than I thought based on your speech. It's fine.
Was? Oh.
I know 3.
No, I thought it was okay.
Yeah, 3 is.
I think it was just a.
After the first 3 episodes, I was really struggling.
Yeah.
Keep up with it.
Yeah.
The dialogue's very fast.
I think I gave it the 0.5, Mandy, because of the music and the art is why. But yeah, otherwise I think it would be a 3 for me too.
Well, good show. So we gave it a 3.5. The our social media gave it a 4. So we're not that far off.
Cool. I'm glad you guys liked it.
I wish they would just have stayed with the first 2 people.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, and guys, go watch if you haven't, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, which is very much this kind of show too. It's an oldie.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have a chance, you should go watch the first episode of Stardust on Mai.
Oh yeah,
it has nothing to do with this, but you should watch.
Definitely go watch that too. What a ride that was, baby.
And while you're at it, go watch the first episode of Planet Test because I don't know, because why not?
Because why not?
Why not?
All right, you know what? We haven't done mailbags in forever because we keep skipping them, so let's just do it real quick.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag.
Oh,
anime.
Snap.
No one in here is dancing, baby.
Anime.
Got one man in Brooklyn at least.
Mailbag. Where's Kazo when you need him?
Guys, I have to emergency bathroom break.
All right. Man, you want to read the first one?
Emergency bathroom break.
Yes, forgive
during the podcast.
Forgive me.
This one is from New York. Come on, you're supposed to read this one.
You're not even here to listen. You know what?
All right, he's gone. Anyways, Queens NY Represent writes, greetings. Have you seen the anime movie Kenya Boy? And they provided a link. I recommend on the basis of it's so bad.
Shame.
So bad it could be good category. Perhaps bits of it could be watched as part of a drinking episode, similar to Garzy's Wing drink episode. I have not watched it. I have no idea.
Yeah, because we don't watch shitty anime. Like,
is it shit? I haven't looked up anything about it.
Well, he spoke. He said he breathed Garzy's Wing's utterance in the same paragraph. Therefore, everything in this paragraph is tainted.
So bad it could be good. Ooh, this looks like a thing.
Okay,
it's a movie from
Confirmed.
1984.
All right, Theo writes, "Hello, AAA crew. I will be graduating from high school in a couple months. Sorry, you probably already did. Actually, maybe not, because high school graduation is like not until May usually. I'll probably already be graduated by the time you get to this, and decided to watch Honey and Clover, which I thought was a perfect anime to watch at my current place in life due to the show's story and themes of growing up in. Did we read this already?
I don't think so.
Growing up adolescents. What are some other anime that you guys would? We already read this for sure. That we would recommend watching when you are about to move forward in life by doing something like graduate from high school or college. Yeah, because I said Paradise Kiss. It's about a girl who gets out of school and transitions into a life in the fashion industry.
And I think we may have had a similar one, but I don't think it was this one.
Okay.
Maybe it's because I recently watched Honey and Clover and we talked about it. But I said Tatami Galaxy is a good one for if you are trying to figure out what you want to do in life, like in like your college. Is a good one. I also put down Shirobako just because it's, high school girls who grow up and get into the anime industry. And that's
a really good pick, Mandy.
Oh, how did you come from?
He's back.
I appear from the ether.
Any opportunity for Enzo to talk about Beck automatically summons him.
I was in the middle of my bathroom business and I heard college anime and I just appeared in front of my mic.
So he strained, squeezed it off real quick.
Stop it. No, I would say Beck for this too. Like, genuinely would. Half of it takes place when they're in high school still, but they do spend a lot of time post high school figuring their shit out with the music stuff. Nana is also a good one. Genuinely, I know this is my top two, but Nana will also be focusing on people moving to the next stage of their life. Or the two Nanas are moving to Tokyo, and that starts everything. I would say Genshiken is great. Honey and Clover is in the question, but that's an amazing one too. So I'm glad you watched that one. Paradise Kiss is great. Also, man, that's a great pick, and so is Shirobako and Tatami Galaxy. So I think you got some shit to watch.
we nailed it.
Yeah.
Enzo, you can read the last one.
Yeah, sure. This one comes from Yotaro Vegeta, and he says, "Aloha, AAA. I was wondering, what industry-related product would you create if you magically had the resources? I was looking up a director on Mao recently, and there are people who think that the Japanese directors are part of Mao and are reading their English comments. I'm not going to comment on what this says about some of the Mao community. I don't know what that means. So what if I could create a resource where I allow fans to get into contact with Japanese cast and crew? I hire translators and make connections with the anime industry to connect English and Japanese side of the business." I don't think anyone would want that.
I said it's called Twitter.
Yeah, that is what that is, actually. That is what that is.
You always have Twitter.
Yeah.
I think the question is like, what would you magically make?
Yeah. To go back to like the actual question, what would an industry related product if I had the resources?
I said if this was like a magical world, this would never happen. Magical global licenses to everything, no restrictions. Like they always come out. Like everything comes out in Japan and over here at the same time.
I know exactly what I would make. I would make a universal subbing tool that it will take the audio track of the anime, it would run it through a processor, and it would spit it out in every language, subtitled perfectly.
Doesn't Google have like an earpiece that does that sort of?
Yeah, but okay, you're gonna tell me you're gonna turn on Google Subs and trust it?
Why you gotta be?
Huh?
Oh, something happened.
Oh no.
He just threw down.
Oh shit, Mitz. Oh no.
I did that thing I did that other time when I dropped my mic and it like came off the thing. It's weird. How does it happen?
And we wonder why we have audio issues sometimes.
Oh my god! And it swung and whacked my computer screen really hard.
Oh no.
It easily could have cracked my screen, but it didn't. Okay.
Dummy.
Okay, interesting. And now you get to hear the squeaking noise. When I screw this thing
Sorry, the stream is delayed, so we just saw it. It's really funny.
Wow. How does that happen?
Yeah, there's a really big delay.
Guys,
just saw the mic
we are a top tier professional anime podcast.
So
we're friggin' professional as shit.
We're so professional.
Yeah.
First of all, we don't curse, right? We don't fucking
never. We never fucking do that.
No, we never fucking do that. Second of all, we never say or like ever.
Never.
Because we're like professionals and shit.
Yeah, we're like professional.
Yeah, and like our audio is so crispy, it's never flawed. Ever.
Yeah,
Never.
There's definitely never drills going on outside.
No, there's
or sirens.
no
jackhammers.
No silent. Yeah, there's never a phone going off ever.
No, ever. There's like we never drop our equipment. Like
no.
Of
course
and
not.
we have super organized thoughts. Like we don't tangent at all.
No, we
like,
definitely never eat on stream.
Like we definitely don't
pretzels,
eat on stream.
bananas,
and
never.
Yeah, nope, not ever. And like we definitely end on time, under 2 hours every time. Ignoring 20 minutes over on this one. Yeah, and we are really good about fading out like the end of the episode. Like we will always fade out in a really cool sentence, right, Mandy?
Yeah. Bye.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Woo!
After party!
Oh, we are doing after party?